Good afternoon. I'm Kristen Bandy with Arkansas Children's, and I am joined here today by a panel of nursing and healthcare management leaders. And today we're going to be talking about the unique position of being a pediatric nurse. It's the start of National Nurses Week, and we are celebrating our nurses all week long. And today we're going to find out a little bit more about what they do and how Arkansas Children's supports them. If you'll introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about what you do here.
I'm Lamitria Wofford, the Director of Nursing Excellence here at Arkansas Children's. I've worked here for almost 22 years. I have the pleasure of leading the nursing research, the professional development, our magnet designation, and our transition to practice teams.
Hi, I'm Janice Sanders. I'm the Talent Acquisition Supervisor, and my current role is mostly focused around nursing and recruiting nurses into our new graduate programs, as well as experienced nurses who are looking to leap into the pediatric field.
Hello, my name is Maria Waklinski. I'm the Director of Patient Care Services at ACNW, which is our campus in Springdale, Arkansas. I've been here just shy of 9 months, so I'm newer to the organization. I oversee our emergency department, also our respiratory department, both inpatient and outpatient, and also our clinical decision unit.
Thank you, ladies, for joining us today. As a parent, before I ever started working here at Arkansas Children's, I experienced our amazing nurses firsthand, and there is just something different about the nurses that work here. What is it that makes the Arkansas Children's nurses so special?
I can jump in. I think what makes it so special about being a nurse at Arkansas Children's is the sense of community that is built from the very beginning. So once you start here as a new nurse or even experienced nurse coming over to Children's, that teamwork and that community just really carries you through until you feel like you're the expert. So I feel like that's something that's unique in the pediatric setting.
I think it's a badge of honor too, just, the care that we provide to our patients and to our families. It's something that we are honored to do, and we take that seriously. And so I know growing up for me was one of my dreams to work here. And so just thinking about the care that we provide, I think that's what makes us special.
I've seen on social media during match day for doctors that there's always like a specific desire to come to Arkansas Children's. Do you find that I don't see that in the nurse side, but does that happen with the nursing graduates as well, that there's a strong desire to come over here?
I do, once they're exposed. Pediatrics can be scary when you're thinking about taking care of someone's most prized possession, their child. Mm-hmm. And nursing school does a really good job at training our students, but they do get limited exposure. So what I'm proud of is when they do come here and do their clinicals, they see the difference of the type of nursing that we deliver. They see the teamwork, they see the compassion, the evidence-based quality care that's given. And I think with that limited exposure, they also feel and are treated with respect as nursing students, where from feedback that I've gotten, other clinicals and other settings, they might not feel that. So to feel valued and as part of the team, even as a nursing student, goes a long way with getting them that exposure. And then that kind of changes the mindset of, I didn't go into nursing school thinking about pediatrics, but this is where I feel like I can be a great nurse.
One of the things I've heard often during my interviews is that children are not just tiny adults. And that, I know that pediatric healthcare is a very special field. What is so specialized about pediatric care, and why is it so crucial?
I think one element of that is advocacy. Nurses are trained to be strong advocates for our patients, but with this vulnerable population of peds or children, we have to take it to the next level. We have to look out for their safety. We have to look out for their parents and make sure that they're well to take care of their child. But I really think there's a strong sense of advocacy.
Agreed. Yeah.
You mentioned that not all nurses go into nursing school with the idea that they'd go into pediatrics. So how do you inspire, prior to nursing school, how do you inspire those healthcare wannabe nurses to get into pediatrics from the get-go, or even to think about coming here after graduation?
Yeah, right now in the recruitment world, it is not just speaking to them at the college level. It really is getting down and getting to them younger and younger. So one of the organizations that we're partnered with is Sylvan Hills, and we partner with them and we sponsor their healthcare academy. So we're speaking to these students when they're in junior high and high school about healthcare opportunities. We also sponsor the business academy as well to show students that you can work at Arkansas Children's in any capacity, that it's not just healthcare. But I really think getting them that exposure early on helps. And then, of course, our social media stories are out there, and I think they're so inspiring. And I think they see that, and they see and they draw inspiration from how we're helping others.
So it seems, as an adult, it seems to me, I'm like, oh goodness, 7th grade, they already know what they want to be. But we were just talking about everybody's children saying what they want to be when they grow up. And I do remember several of the nurses that I know in real life have been saying they wanted to be nurses since they were 13 or 14 years old. So it does make sense to get in there and let them know, like, this beautiful, wonderful career is out there waiting for you. So we've talked about how great the environment is, and I've met so many nurses here that have been here for just decades, and they are still just the most wonderful nurse you would have ever met. What makes our nurses stay for so long and keep their careers here?
I would say the opportunities that are available here. I started out as what was called a patient care partner. So it was my last year of nursing school. And the skills that I had learned in school, I was able to practice those with a nurse. And so we were partnered together. I was able to take what I was learning and then utilize it in the clinical setting. Once I graduated, I had various units that I could apply to and decide if I wanted to stay there. I started out in the CVICU, and I did. I interviewed in different areas just as an opportunity to see what was offered. I did decide to stay in the CVICU, and so I was there. My clinical care was there for about 10 years or so on the night shift, and just growing in different opportunities being presented from that to clinical education and to my role now. So I think it's just the various opportunities that you have here that just allow you to grow and professionally develop.
I would agree. Yes.
I want to ask in nursing school, what's a bit of advice you would give to anybody graduating from nursing school looking to get into the pediatric field?
I would encourage them, and I talk to students on a regular basis, is to really absorb what you're seeing in your clinicals, whether it's pediatrics or not. There's something to learn from every clinical day that you're taking care of a patient or a family member. And you can use that to apply to your interviews of where you want to work in the future. So I really encourage them to take every clinical as an opportunity and apply it to your next day.
I would say take every opportunity as though it's your only opportunity. So you want to give it your all. And
life advice as well.
Just
in general. Write that one down.
Yeah, I would say just treating it that way so that you never know if that, I think one of the things we find is that our newer nurses will come in and say, I want this area, I want this opportunity. And with our residency, we had a few resident cohorts where the rotations happened. And so they may have thought, I want to go to the ED. And they get in the ED and they're like, okay, I really appreciate that, but I want to try something different. And so if you treat things as though it's your only opportunity and learn all that you can, then it helps you as you have other opportunities to really appreciate what you can compare to. So.
I agree. When they're looping from unit to unit, they meet all the different nurses on all the different units, and they take away the positives and the negatives and the uniqueness of each different unit, and then they have to match that with their strengths and weaknesses. So I agree. Give it your all while you're there and create great first impressions.
Yes.
How often do you find that a nurse comes in just adamant that they want to work in this specific area, and then they end up training in another area, falling in love with it, and they're like, what was I even thinking?
I think that's a good thing about having our residency program and our student nurse internship, so that our student nurse internship is for those senior level nursing students. So they work with us for a full year while they're in their last year. And that's where they get that opportunity to rotate through up to 6 areas for the first 6 months. And then their second 6 months, they're matched to that home unit. And I think probably most of them end up somewhere different than they thought. It really is about that exposure, and it's not just about the patient population that they thought they were going to treat, but it's also the dynamics of the team and how they best fit with that team and see themselves in their future. So I think the exposure is extremely helpful for them.
So they get to try before they buy.
Yes,
They do.
Try them all out, figure out which one fits you best.
Yes.
Love that. So I'm going to ask each of you, and I'll let you go first, Lemitra. What is one thing you want people to know about nursing at Arkansas Children's?
We're the best.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I think.
I would say that nurses at Arkansas Children's are special in the care that we provide to our patients and to our families. The opportunities that we have to grow and develop for our own personal growth and development that benefits our patients and families, that we have the opportunity to see life-changing things happen and be a part of that. And that's important for our patients because a lot of them are very small and young, and we get to see them grow and be a part of that. And so I would say we're special.
What's the one thing I wish everyone knew about Arkansas Children's and being a nurse there? It's hard to narrow it down on one. I will say personally, I'm thankful for the opportunity that I've worked here for 17 years as a nurse, and I've never had to look outside of Arkansas Children's for an opportunity that was either a challenge for me or when I'm looking for my next step in my career or simply just needed to change for family work-life balance. I've always had an opportunity here at Children's where I didn't have to look somewhere else. And I think that's important for nurses to know that if you come here to work at Arkansas Children's, this could be your last stop or your only stop as a nurse. You always have that opportunity to grow. And also we're a magnet organization. And what that means is that the nurses have a say and that they have a voice. They have a voice of how patients are taken care of and how different policies are made, and that we are right up there with the C-suite when decisions are made, that being magnet through our shared governance is that our voices are heard.
You know, and for me, being newer to the organization, there is a contrast between acute care in the adult hospital and the pediatric hospital. And I would say nurses at Arkansas Children's are highly engaged. And I think they're highly engaged based on what Lemitra and Janice just mentioned. With shared governance, the journey for Magnet at ACNW, those are all things that are unique, especially to the hospitals in Northwest Arkansas. You may have a unit-based council, but to really have shared governance where each nurse has a voice and that voice is heard is really unique to, especially Northwest Arkansas in particular.
As we celebrate our nurses this week, and I know we've got some fun activities planned, which we'll talk about after this, but as we celebrate, can you think of a time specifically that made you proud to be part of the nursing at Arkansas Children's?
It's one of those, what do you narrow
down to? I will say our very first magnet designation, I was lucky enough to be a part of the interview process, and I just sat down with the magnet appraiser, and she was just like, tell me about nursing at Arkansas Children's. And I just started sobbing out of nowhere. And it was just that simple question, but it was just so impactful that I had the opportunity to share my experience about being a nurse. Mm-hmm. So I think that is a memory that stands with me. And then, of course, you know, all the patients and families that I've taken care of. But now what I carry with me is, even though I'm not physically touching patients right now, mm-hmm. I know that my work impacts them directly. Even if I'm not touching them, I know that I'm looking for the best of the best nurses to come in and take care of them. And I would venture to say most people that you ask who work at Arkansas Children's, that they would feel the same. Even though they're not touching the patients, they understand that the work that they do impacts the patients and the families.
for me, as I previously mentioned, I'm newer to the organization, but what a gift to my nursing profession to walk into an organization that has such a strong culture. And that's a testimony to all those who have came before me. And so I'm just happy to be a part of it all. Our ACNW is newer. So, and I've been in nursing for quite some time. And I love the fact that I'm able to mentor and give back because ACNW has such a strong culture. I just really am thankful to be there with all my nurses.
You mentioned you came from the adult world. What's been the biggest difference between adult healthcare and pediatric healthcare that you've noticed so far?
Well, I think adult care, we're really still coming out of COVID somewhat. And I know, although I wasn't in the pediatric hospital then, I know that COVID impacted the pediatric hospital differently than the adult hospital. And so I think adult hospitals are somewhat rebuilding. And that's been a journey, and it'll continue that journey. So it's been really refreshing to come to the pediatric hospital that maybe didn't have the same degree of stress that the adult hospitals had. So I think that is the biggest difference, that just coming through that journey. But yeah, I think it's kind of been difficult and much different. I that's the way I take it, though, that it was different. So
one thing that being in lots of adult hospitals, in my years, and then being in this one, walking through the halls, and I mean, you could see a princess, you could see a kid carrying a flashing light toy. There are children everywhere, and they just make walking through the halls of the hospital such a blessing because, I mean, there is no telling what you will hear, what they will talk to you about, and it is one of the greatest things for me. And I really enjoy that. Okay, so tell me about some of the activities that are going on this week for our nurses. How are we celebrating this week?
So we have our Nursing Excellence Awards that are happening pretty much throughout the next few days. And that is where our nurses have nominated and then voted upon the nurses that are exemplary in research or compassion. Our Daisy Lifetime Award winner. And it is just where we really just go to the units and we surprise that nurse or that team. There's one for team engagement, and surprise them and give them their award and then share with them what the nomination said, which is a surprise to them to know this is what's thought of you.
And it's their peers that voted on it, which adds an element of amazing.
Yes, it's their peers. We have food trucks that will be here. You can never go wrong with
the nurses. Everybody loves food trucks, but
nurses love food.
Nurses love food trucks. Like I don't want to specify it's just them, but they do love the food trucks.
T-shirts.
Nurses
Week T-shirts are back. They're always a hit.
Yeah.
And they're dressed up like their favorite sports team today.
Yes, favorite sports team today.
Disney character.
Disney, CW.
Yes. Sports Hero Day.
Dress up days.
Yeah. We have a neon day.
Talent show.
That's right.
It's
I'll
on
be in attendance,
Thursday.
so warn them that they will be
Yes.
recorded.
My name is on the list, but I just nominated somebody. I will not be performing.
But
no,
Come on.
but it's great fun.
Yeah.
Trying to make it as fun as possible for everybody.
Yeah.
It seems like we're definitely going the extra mile to try to make them feel celebrated this week.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's great. All right. I ask everybody, so I'm sorry you're in the hot seat, but tell me one thing that you love about your job.
I would say for me, it's seeing all the new people. I think for nursing school, and just thinking back, I was thinking about this the other day when I was working for one of the schools and I was introducing Arkansas Children's to the students. So they would come for their first day and I would meet them at the front of the entrance. And it was like they were in Hollywood. They would pull their cameras out. Yes. They would pull their cameras out. They would stand there and it was like, I finally made it here. And just to see those expressions on their face was something that I'll never forget. And then to see that now as they graduate and they start residency and they are trying to find, where they belong. I love that about my job. So.
That does sound like a great part.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I love about my job currently in the recruitment world is I really do get to be a dream maker when it comes time to extend the offers for the new grad residency or the student nurse interns. or experienced nurses, oftentimes this is the dream. This is where they were trying to get to. So to extend those offers and hear the shrieks of joy, or they're crying and they can't speak, and asking them, who's the first person you're going to tell that you're a nurse at Arkansas Children's, and listen to their response is probably my current favorite thing in this
Sounds
role.
great.
It is so fun. It really is. And then just being kind of on the backside and seeing the different nurses promote when they promote to an RN 2 or 3, just knowing where they started and seeing them climb that achieve ladder is always nice to see on the backside, because we watched them from the beginning. It was fun.
And how long have you been in recruitment side?
I have been in the recruitment side for about 7 years.
So in those 7 years, do you ever go back to the ones that cried or shrieked for joy to check in on them? And
Yes,
You
absolutely.
Love bucket full.
Yes, it's hard to forget the names of kind of my first groups that started, for sure. Yep.
Maria, how about you?
So the best part of my job is the sense of teamwork in the pediatric ER. It can be very busy. They work together so strongly as a team. They lift each other up. They support each other in their life-changing moments, and it's really a testimony to their commitment to each other. And so we have excellent teamwork, which I'm just happy to be a part of.
Love it. Well, thank you, ladies, for joining us today, and happy Nurses Week to all our nurses who may be watching this. We're looking forward to celebrating them all week. Stay tuned to our social media to find out about all the happenings that are going on, and you guys have a great rest of your day.